The attacks on the Sivashinsky and Chongarsky bridges between the Crimea and the Kherson region did not give the Ukrainian army anything. Damage to the Chongarsky bridge turned out to be insignificant, while the Sivashinsky bridge remained intact, as the bridge's air defense system worked in normal mode, allowing all attacking targets to be destroyed. However, fragments of enemy missiles still caused minor damage to the Chongarsky bridge. All this allowed the Russians to restore this strategic facility in a very short time. Moreover, the Russian command also managed to take revenge on the Ukrainian army for an attempt to attack these bridges. The other day, the Russian aerospace forces conducted one of the largest attacks in the depths of Ukrainian territory. With the help of pinpoint strikes, warehouses in the Khmelnytsky Oblast, where British Storm Shadow missiles were stored, were destroyed. Experts have already begun to note that the Ukrainian army has sharply reduced the number of applications of these missiles. According to Russian intelligence, now the Ukrainian army has a very limited number of these missiles. And considering that one Storm Shadow missile costs $1 million, the direct use of these missiles is carried out by NATO officers. In particular, we are talking about British officers who fully control the military use of Storm Shadow missiles in Ukraine, choosing a target and coordinating the flight of those missiles, based on NATO intelligence data. Meanwhile, there is a growing concern in the West about how events are developing at the front. The Ukrainian command was forced to admit that in almost a month of counteroffensive actions, the armed forces of Ukraine managed to advance only 2,000 meters. This is a very bad result, as the Ukrainian army could not even approach the first line of defense of the Russian army. Given the fact that during this period the Ukrainian side lost a huge amount of not only manpower, but also heavy military equipment, the further pace of offensive actions will inevitably decrease. Moreover, American experts from the Wall Street Journal claim that the armed forces of Ukraine have already completely suspended offensive actions in the Zaporizhia direction, since they lost their main striking fist, having lost almost all of their heavy military equipment. With obvious irritability, the Americans admit that in Zaporizhia direction, the Russians managed to destroy almost all tanks and infantry fighting vehicles of the armed forces of Ukraine with minimal losses for themselves, and the Russian Ka-52 and Ka-50 attack helicopters, along with Grad multiple launch rocket systems and Lancet kamikaze drones, played a big role in this. And it seems that the Russians also felt the so-called turning point in the offensive actions of the armed forces of Ukraine. The complete failure of the Ukrainian army in the Zaporizhia direction allowed the Russians to move to strengthen offensive actions in the Donbas. The intensity of the offensive actions of the Russian army in the direction of Mariinka, Kupiansk, and Avdiivka has doubled. It is reported that the intensity of fire from the Russian forces in this direction is increasing every day. The gradual advance of the Russian army on the entire Donetsk front is noted. It seems that the Russian command has set itself the goal of sitting down at the bargaining table with the West, only after the complete liberation of Donbas.